The Golden Land of Myanmar is quite unlike any other country you have experienced before in Southeast Asia, as well as the world. Rated as one of the friendliest countries in the world, Myanmar spent many years closed to the rest of the world because of its turbulent political history. But now, thanks to more welcoming tourism initiatives by its government, the country has opened up to foreigners. The amazing places to visit in Myanmar will give you an incredible mix of modern and old traditions and cultures. The natural beauty of Myanmar you will find here: soaring mountains, pristine beaches, and meandering waterways that are quite unparalleled, and so is the cuisine. You will be intrigued by her culture, the golden pagodas and palaces, and will discover hidden gems in almost every city you visit. This is most amazing places visit in Myanmar. Seoul Pagoda. The over 2,000-year-old Seoul Pagoda is located in the center of Yangon and is an important venue for religious ceremonies and political affairs. The pagoda is said to enshrine a strand of Buddha's hair, which was given to two Burmese merchant brothers. The history of the Seoul Pagoda can be traced back to some 2,000 to 2,500 years ago. It was initially built in an Indian temple style, but was changed with Burmese elements when the British invaders redesigned Yangon in the mid-19th century. It is said that the British once used Seoul Pagoda as the center for the grid layout of the city. The main stupa, in an octagonal shape, is surrounded by smaller stupas, bronze bells, and shrines containing Buddha images. There are 8 Buddha images representing each day of the week. Local people pray to the shrine belonging to the day of their birth. Mount Popa. The beautiful historic features of Bagan are yours to discover on this day-long tour that takes you from Saleh's Yukson Monastery to Mount Popa. Your journey begins when you are picked up right from your hotel by the tour staff and then led to the historic sites of Saleh, a town about 15 kilometers south of Bagan, where you will explore the Yukson Monastery. This old wooden monastery is filled with stunning wooden features and decorated with traditional Myanmar arts and crafts. A visit to the Man Pagoda will reveal Buddha portraits and antiques adorned in lacquer, gold, and silver, truly a sight to behold. After a lunch at Popa Mountain Resort, your guide will take you up towards Mount Popa, with 777 steps towards the Nat temples. This mountain is an extinct volcano 1,518 meters above sea level. Shwedagon Pagoda. The Shwedagon Pagoda is certainly one of the more beautiful temples that exists. There you can see the customs of Buddhists' prayers and offerings of water and flowers. It's the most sacred temple for the Burmese because it houses the relics of 4 Buddhas, Kasanda's staff, Kanagamana's water filter, a piece of the Kaspasas, and 8 hairs of Gautama. The stupa is 100 meters tall and is covered with gold leaf. Visitors must remove their shoes before entering, and prayers are performed while circling counterclockwise. At night, it's a spectacle to see, full of the faithful praying and chanting and the smell of incense. Inle Floating Gardens. Inle Lake is a valuable wetland for local ecosystems and one of Myanmar's freshwater biodiversity hotspot. In this lake, poor management of floating gardens cultivation by some farmers has resulted in leaching of excess nutrients, and then water and sediment were contaminated by chemical residues. This study aims to assess the environmental risk to lake ecosystem by investigating the nutrient contamination of water, sediment, and monitoring pesticide residues from fish, sediment along with water. Sediment and water samples have been gathered from non-GAP and GAP floating gardens, including the Central Lake as a reference point, during the wet season of 2019 and dry season of 2020. Health risk linked with intake of pesticide residues in fish from floating gardens and Central Lake are assessed. Mandalay Palace. The last royal palace of the ultimate Burmese monarchy, Kings Mindon and the Ba's one-time residence, was built between 1857 and 1859 in accordance with the Buddha's prophecy that, in the year 2400, a great city would be built at the bottom of Mandalay Hill. The east-facing palace is inside a walled fort whose 4 1.25-mile walls form a perfect square. Part of the palace was transported by elephant from then-kingdom Amarapura. When the palace was later looted by invading British troops, many artifacts were swiped and some can now be seen at London's Victoria and Albert Museum. During World War II, the Japanese took over the palace, and when bombs hit the city, it was almost entirely destroyed with only the mint and one watchtower surviving the attack.